So the number of protons that are in the nucleus of an atom is a very important number. It's the number of protons that determines what element that atom is a part of. I think of the protons as being like the personality or the soul of a person. And the electrons are more like your outward appearance or the clothing that you're wearing. You can cut your hair, you can change your clothes, you can pierce your nose, you can do things, right, to make yourself look different. But does it change who you are? It doesn't. The protons are on the inside of the atom. The number of protons identifies what element an atom belongs to. And we give it a name, we call that the atomic number, and it's given the symbol Z. Don't ask me why I have issues with that. If we look at helium, these are helium balloons, lots of helium atoms. Each of those atoms has 2 protons in its nucleus. Every single helium atom has 2 protons, no exceptions. If it has a different number of protons, it's a different element, and it has different properties. Here's the top of an aluminum can. It's made out of aluminum. Aluminum's an element. So the top of this can is aluminum atoms. And each aluminum atom has 13 protons in its nucleus. No exceptions. So on the periodic table, which we've got most of a periodic table over there. There's another one in the back, but it's kind of small. On the periodic table, we're going to see the chemical symbol, and above the chemical symbol is a whole number, and that is the atomic number. And so we can just look at the periodic table and know how many protons each element has in its nucleus. So if we look at nitrogen, right here, nitrogen, how many protons in the nucleus of nitrogen? 7. If there are 7 protons, how many electrons are there? 7, the same. In an atom, the number of protons and protons and electrons is the same. And you don't need to memorize those numbers because we always have periodic tables around when we're doing chemistry. Now this one has element names. You won't have one with element names on it on an exam, but we always have a periodic table. So we do need to know the element names, and that's what I was giving you the memorization quiz about. So hopefully you've already started learning these guys. The symbols for the elements have 1 or 2 letters. The first letter is always capitalized. The second is never capitalized. And those chemical symbols are related to the name. Now, most of them are based on the English name, but some of them are based on the Latin or Greek names. You know, carbon is C. That makes sense, right? Sulfur is S. Okay, we get that. Why is silver Ag? Where does that come from? Silver, the word silver doesn't even have an A and a G in it. Well, that's because the Latin word for silver is argentum. And Ar was already taken for argon, so they went with the third letter, so Ag is the symbol for silver. So some of them these guys especially seem a little weird, unrelated to the names that we call them, but there actually is a reason behind it. And we just need to memorize them. There's not really a lot of understanding going on here. It's memorizing. I'm pretty sure that all of you have memorized the alphabet, right? How do you learn that a B is B? You just memorize it. And so this is one of those things we just have to memorize. And you may need, flashcards or something, but just do it. This is one of my favorite elements. The element of surprise. I forget that I stick some of these things in here and then I'm surprised by them. So an example, find the name and atomic number for each element. So what's the name for Na? Sodium. And what's the atomic number? 11. That tells us 11 protons, 11 electrons. Ni stands for nickel. There is niobium, but I think that one's Nb. Nickel, how many protons? What's the atomic number? 28. I've got to walk over here so I can see the periodic table. P stands for phosphorus. Now, there's an English and a non-English spelling of phosphorus. English meaning British. The British put an extra O in there. And I've spelled phosphorus wrong for many, many years. How many, what's the atomic number of phosphorus? 15. What's Ta? It's tantalum. That's one of those odd ones. Tantalum. And that one we sometimes have to look around on the periodic table for a while. 73. It's right down here. 73 protons, 73 electrons.